So Senate Republicans continue to push for a vote on a Supreme Court nominee less than 50 days before the election.
As of today, there are 43 days until November 3rd and 104 days until the end of this Congress. The Senate has more than sufficient time to process a nomination. History and precedent make that perfectly clear. There was clear precedent behind the predictable outcome that came out of 2016. And there's even more overwhelming precedent behind the fact that this Senate will vote on this nomination this year. We're going to keep our word once again. We're going to vote on this nomination on this floor.
We've got the votes to confirm Justice Ginsburg's replacement before the election. We're going to move forward in the committee. We're going to report the nomination out of the committee to the floor of the United States Senate so we can vote before the election. That's the constitutional process. After Kavanaugh, everything changed with me. They're not going to intimidate me, Mitch McConnell, or anybody else.
You know, it's really, let's be clear about something here. Okay, let's be clear about something, because whenever one of these Supreme Court vacancies open up, obviously so much is at stake. People get really upset.
Emotional, for sure.
Get really emotional. But let's be clear about a couple of things. When you want to talk about the breaching of constitutional norms, you certainly can find that. Possible illegal actions by Donald Trump, you can certainly find that. You see him interfering with FBI investigations. You see him try to interfere with Justice Department guidelines. You see him commuting sentences of people that may be involved in crimes that he was involved with. You see, excuse me, what he's doing with TikTok, and that's breaching political norms and constitutional norms, and it's something challenging federal judges' authority. That is frightening, and it's something that should frighten all Americans. The president calling the free press enemies of the people, that's a Stalinist tactic. Yeah. That's frightening. Okay, so I could go on, and I could tell you all the things that Donald Trump has done and all the things that the Republican Senate has done that cause me grave concerns, even as a conservative. But it is within their right, because they won the presidency.
Right.
And they won the Senate. If they can get it through, that's within their right. All right. So Lindsey Graham is right about one thing, and that is that this is their constitutionally protected right. And this is not the breaching of a constitutional norm. It's political hardball. And I say that with the knowledge. Of course, Lindsey Graham can't look past the end of his nose to understand this. But when Democrats take control of the Senate, when Democrats win the presidency, if in fact they do that, then it's their ball game. And they can do what they want to do politically. And, you know, this started with Harry Reid in 2013 and the Democrats deciding to get rid of the filibuster for federal judges. And then it went downhill even more when Republicans applied that to Supreme Court picks, something that none of us ever thought would happen. Started with Harry Reid, then Mitch McConnell. Now we see what happened with Merrick Garland. It was just really deeply offensive. It was within their right, but it was deeply offensive, and deeply offensive the lies that just spew out of Lindsey Graham's mouth, the lies, and Steve Daines, the lies that just spew out of their mouths. They lie to the people of Montana so effortlessly, so easily. They lie to the people of South Carolina so effortlessly and so easily. And that's the real problem. But understand, on the other side of this election, understand in 2021, if Democrats decide to do what they decide to do, which who knows, maybe they'll decide to expand the Supreme Court to 11 or 12. Oh, will Republicans scream and yell and go? Sure they will. But guess what? They can do that constitutionally. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that there have to be 9 justices. That number has expanded throughout American history. It may expand again. So there's always a reaction to a radical move. And the thing I've always found about I'll just say, one of the dumber things I've seen from Washington politicians in both parties is they seem to think that the status quo will always remain the way it is, that they'll always be in power. And nobody's looking past the end of their noses. They're all day traders. And so when they wake up in January, February, and they don't like what the Democrats are doing, if the Democrats have complete control of Washington, D.C., well, guess what? They set the precedent. But really, I will say, now that I put that out, and they have the constitutional right to do this, the further course and debate around Supreme Court justices, well, I do say that. I got to say, I am so rarely surprised by what happens in Washington and so rarely distressed by what I read a politician doing. But I will say maybe it's because I've known Lindsey for so long and we spent so much time together in the House. Just distressed by the fact that he lies so easily in public. He lies to his constituents without any remorse. He does it in the open. And he says something that's really just not true. He says, you would do the same thing too if the shoe were on the other foot. No, actually, Lindsey, no, I know a lot of people that both you and I served with that would never do that. I know a ton of people. Guys like Steve Largent, J.C. Watts, Matt Salmon. I mean, I could go, John Shadegg, I could go down the list. There are actually people, Lindsey, that we came into Congress with where, you know, when we promised our constituents something, you know, we did it. And Willie, I just, again, I don't want to say this is a new low because there have been so many things that have happened over the past 4 years, but it is actually, I find myself actually shocked that Lindsey Graham gives his word to the people of South Carolina, gives his word to the American people during the 2016 Senate hearings, and in 2018, after Kavanaugh, gives his word to the American people again while talking to Jeffrey Goldberg, and then just lies with absolutely no remorse to the people of South Carolina. Listen, as James Madison said, if men were angels, we wouldn't need a government. Men aren't angels. Nobody's perfect. But the degree of duplicity here is about as unprecedented as I can remember. Shameless.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.